Hello everyone, it's Kari back again to share a fun project using this Whodunnit stamp set. And this time I'm going to use this lady in the stamp set as our main image and focal point character. And I thought it would be fun to create kind of a file folder card base. So I'm going to start out by making my card base, and I have kind of a light yellow color cardstock, which is kind of reminded me of a manila file folder. So that's why I chose this color, and I'm just going to score it in the center, so at 4 1/4, and fold that in half. Now, in order to make the file folder look, I'm going to use my envelope punch board. And this is an older version of the envelope punch board. They have a newer version out now, which is white and turquoise. But my old version works just fine, and so I keep on using it. So I just wanted to tell you that I tested it out first on a scrap piece of paper to make that little file folder tab, and I just made this on a card front, but I wanted it for my card base so that this looked like a file folder when you opened it. So I'm taking the back section, so you can see this is the back part that I'm going to turn into the little tab for a file folder, and I'm lining up that edge against the edge of the cutter there. I don't know if I'm explaining this very well, but now that I have that lined up and I did the first cut, I'm going to move it over to the 2.5-inch line right there on the left, and then I'll punch it one more time. And now when I cut off the rest of this, we're going to get our file folder tab that is great for a card base. So I'm just going to cut it off using my cutter here. I am lining up the edge of that tab with the rest of it, and I'm going to just trim the rest of it off just like this. And we get that beautiful top fold or top tab. Now there might be just a little bit of an excess there, and I just kind of smoothed it away with my fingers. And now we're going to cut off a little bit of the front, about the same amount that I cut off there. It's about a 1/2 inch, I would say. So I'm just going to line this up to cut off 1/2 inch from the front portion of our card. And see that? We get that file folder just like that. So I love this look of this, but I'm also wanting to round those extra corners so they're not so harsh. So the back of this envelope punch board has a corner rounder right in it. So I'll put all those corners in, round the corners, and now we have our card base, and that's going to be perfect for what I want to create today. So that front panel that you see me putting in front there, that I've already cut that out with the Postage seal and shaker collection, and I used the largest Postage die to cut out that rectangle. And I've just ink blended a little bit of orange ink on a portion of that to create kind of a gradient background for us. Now I'm taking a stamp that says allegedly from the crime scene stamp set, and I'm going to stamp that right on the tab of our file folder. And then I'm going to take one of those caution tapes stamps, and I'm stamping it down on the front of the folder using some gray ink. Now that first gray ink I used was Lost Shadow, and it was not dark enough for me. So I'm going in with a little bit darker of an ink, and I believe this is pumice stone. And that's going to stamp a really nice look for us on the front of the folder. Most of this folder is going to be covered up from our other card panel, so I'm not too worried about decorating the front of the file folder. So now I'm going to take that panel that I've previously inked up, and I've got some images that I've already colored, and I have them ready to go to build a great little scene here. So the lady is from the Whodunnit stamp set, and then this is the table from the Fortune Teller stamp set. And I'm going to bring that in, and then I'll put on the little typewriter. There's some extra papers that are already typed on, a little murder book right there. There's some little glasses that I thought I might use, but in the end, I don't believe I use those. And then I've also cut out the word hello from one of the alpha die sets that I will link below for you. And I cut that out of pink cardstock and then inked on a little more ink of a darker pink. And since we're going old school today with the Hello, She Wrote sentiment, I thought I would try using something that I haven't used in a really, really long time on a card. Yes, I still have a stash of eyelets, and I found one that was kind of a bronzy color. I'm using my Crocodile to add a little hole and then close that eyelet up on my sentiment strip. And I want to attach this to the O in the hello so that it's going to all be kind of tied together. I've cut out that same alpha with some fun foam, and this is going to pop up those letters and give it a little more dimension on our card. Now I had to cut out an extra L, so I just did that one separate. But when I usually do foam and add the letters, I like to leave the letters right in the foam and add the cardstock to that and allow it to dry. And that way we don't get any weird shifting of the letters. It all kind of stays together a little bit easier. So I'm going to add these on those letters and allow them to dry before pulling them out of the fun foam. So I'm just using my small adhesive tip for this, really small, just adding enough to attach the die cut letter to the fun foam die cut. And then we'll allow all of that to dry. So now that it's dry, I can go ahead and pull those letters out, and I have some black twine here that I'm going to thread through the O and tie in a little knot. And see, I'm going to have that kind of hanging from the O. Now this part is a little bit fiddly, but I kind of love how it turned out. So I think in the end it was worth the extra little work. And it's fun to do some old school techniques like this when you have kind of a nod to something in the past. In my opinion, I think it's really fun. So this is how that's going to work out. So after I get all those letters ready, I'm going to go ahead and add some fun foam to our Hello, She Wrote sentiment so that it's the same level approximately as our fun foam letter. Then I'll glue the letter on and foam tape that Hello, She Wrote down at the same time. I'm going to put my magnet over the top to allow that to dry while I add the rest of the letters, just like that. And you can see I've got a paper clip that is just kind of attaching that to the top. I may change the color of that paper clip in the end. So I'm starting out with a pink one, but you can see I have a few options up there on the left side. And now I'll just glue together my other elements. So I added the typewriter to the table. I added the little murder book to the table that could have a lot of clues in it right there. I attached the paper kind of flying out of that typewriter, and then I added our character with some foam adhesive, and that is looking great right there. But you know, we can't stop there because there's a little magnifying glass in this set that I thought would be super cute on that sentiment, and there's plenty of room for it. So I'm just going to color this up real quick using some light blues and some grays to match our theme that we've got going on here. Just a little bit of neutral gray there for the top. And then I'll glue that onto the sentiment. And the inside I felt like could use a sentiment as well. So I'm going to take that same stamp set from the crime scene stamp set and choose one of the sentiments that's really kind of making me laugh right now. I'm going to stamp the crime scene tape also at the bottom of our inside piece. And I'm going to stamp the sentiment with a pink ink that matches the front of our card. And this one says, if you don't make plans for your day, the word premeditated can't get thrown around in court. So I thought that would be perfect for the inside sentiment inside our little file folder card. I'm also going to stamp one of those little evidence tags with some gray ink, and then also that crime scene tape at the bottom with gray ink. So I'll finish stamping this, and then we'll add that to the inside of our file folder. Now you could add a couple sheets of paper if you wanted to, kind of make maybe one a little bit ski-wampus or like a little bit to the right, like fanned out. I think that would look cute too. Today I'm just going to add this one, and there's plenty of room to write a little note to your recipient as well. There we go. And you can see that I changed my paper clip out for a black one just to kind of tie it all together with the sentiments. There's the inside of our card, and I love how this turned out. I love the file folder look for a card base, and I also love that hello, which was die cut from the Woodgrain frame die set. I think that alpha looks a little like a typewriter. So that worked out great. I hope you enjoyed this card today. I really enjoyed making it with you, and I hope you're enjoying the new release from Missing Stamps. If you haven't seen it yet, be sure to click on the links below so you can check it all out. Until next time, happy crafting. Bye-bye.